Hello everyone, welcome back to a new YouTube cast. Today we're going to be having a look at, in the bottom left spawning as the blue zerg TSG Solar, Triumphant Sun Gaming of course, and in top right we'll have Raise Your Edges Zest as the pink Protoss. So, exciting stuff. Zest will be opening up with a very fast scout. So he sends one of his first workers that comes back from the minerals, sends it across the map in order to block his opponent's hatchery. We see Solars playing 14 hatch. This is very uncommon to build a hatchery before Overlord, but it actually will help him this time around because Zest won't be able to block the natural. This is just very bad economically for Solar though. For the Terrans and Protosses alike, imagine building a Nexus first while being supply blocked at 15 supply. That's pretty much how bad it is. It's a pretty big hit to your economy in the early game, and I would absolutely not recommend this to anyone. Even if you're sure the other person is trying to block your hatch in the early game, I don't actually think it does very much. Now, we're seeing Zest opening up with what looks to be just a Nexus first after his very early, well, in this case it's a scout, usually of course used to block, and Solar will be going into an extractor and a pool as a follow-up. Now you might say, well, his hatchery is going to be done very fast, but it's not actually that useful as you won't be mining from it yet because you still need to send drones into that gas. Yeah, it's just a cost early on. Your drone count will be lower than it should be, and it's not a nice opening build order. Zest on the other hand is just playing his standard Nexus before core. We will throw down a second pylon soon, and then we will be seeing exactly what tech he's going to get. But for now he's just a happy man trying to deny some mining. Of course should be trying to deny the closer by patches rather than the further away patches, but you know, any denying of mining is good. But of course the closer patches give I believe 10 to 15 more minerals per minute than the far away ones. So if you deny those, that's also better for you as a player. After stealing some minerals, he decides it's time to go home and most likely will check drone count, maybe check if there's links coming out of here, then walk over to the third base or just go straight home. We'll patrol for a bit, sees, two links are coming towards me, might check if there's any links behind, and sees one link moving towards the right side of the map and might try to match that movement with his initial adept. It's also of course completely possible that he uses first adept to straight away scout across the map, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He is aware that there is a ling on the way for him, so I would not be surprised if he leaves this second adept at home. As we see, it's rallied completely across the map, so we'll see exactly what he's going to be doing with that adept. This adept most likely won't shade in, as the second adept is also chronoed. Okay, we'll send the second adept across the map as well. No third unit on the way, so means this ling is going to be quite annoying. Adept will try to shade in. We're seeing a second gateway being built right now, as well as glaives and robotics facility. Zest did pull out of gas, so most likely we'll be going into a 4-gate glaive build order here. Now, Solar scouted absolutely everything here. He scouted that the Twilight was researching. If you pay very close attention, you can see the animation of the Twilight speeding up, like these flickers. They go faster if something is researching. So Solar saw them, was like, okay, something is researching here. Most likely not going to be very fast Dark Shrine. As a response, does get a layer, which is odd to see, because you only really need that against a fast Dark Shrine. Usually otherwise you could just be happy with a Roach Warren, save the money that you would have put into that layer, put it into more roaches or maybe a couple more drones instead. Instead we are going to be seeing a layer. Another interesting thing to note is that there is no anti-air, and as I say that, the Stalker gets warped in. So I was going to say this Overlord could just fly into the main base of Zest, but Zest realized that. It's like, alright mate, I wasn't born yesterday, as he warps in a Stalker and just manages to chase out this Overlord. Overlord will of course make it back safely onto the top cliff. Meanwhile we have Zest also moving out to a prison with 3 glaive adepts in there, and this build it is relatively tight. We see a warp in at 427, 428 with only 7 adepts. Usually you see this with 8 adepts. So you see the early game scout did cost him a little bit, on top of there being no blockage on the natural. Will make it hard to do damage here. Now, I say of course will be hard to do damage here, but Zest's movement is insanely good, and usually he'll always be able to find some damage. Let's see if it's going to be the case this time as well, as he's moving forward into that third base, trying to do some damage. Solar quickly moving forward with all of these roaches. I mean, this... he might actually finish here. There's 6 roaches, not completely on position on the ramp. One adept will fall now. No, Solar's actually not target firing, so you have a bunch of very bruised adepts, but not quite exactly what you want as the Zerg player. As the adept shade into the natural now as well. First drones will start falling now, but take a look at the units lost tab. Solar actually is a little bit behind, but this is still okay-ish trades. This might be dangerous here, depending on how many more drones will fall. 7 drones have gone down in total. There's another 4 adepts here, but I don't think this is quite enough for Zest here, who's very low supply. He has almost no army. Sure, he did kill a bunch of drones, but if you take a look at the units lost, he actually lost more than he gained there. His third base is extremely delayed. He has no forge yet, and right now Solar can just drone up. He doesn't really need to produce units for a while. Can probably drone up to 58, 60 before even having to consider building more units. I mean, right now it's all about positioning, because there's going to be a couple of small pokes, but Solar already has the units. He just needs to have them in position right now. We see 2 adepts making their way into the natural. There is 4 adepts going into the main with a prism. Oh, Solar, split your unit. And 2 more adepts going to the third base. Those do get cancelled. The ones in the natural get cancelled, but the 4 in the main manage to find some damage, get 3 workers, lose a single adept. But they also force a pull. So that was a good little damage there, but also fine response by Solar, who's still in a pretty healthy lead. He does need to start transitioning out of this roach army. I'd love to see an Evo chamber here, something like a baneling nest being added on as well. Hell, I wouldn't even mind a spire as much. He really does need to transition out of roaches though, as he is in a pretty decent lead. Should start thinking about a 4th base at this point as well. We see Zest on a very low worker count, prioritizing gateways over probes. We see a complete cut on probes right now. It seems like Zest is kind of gearing up for some kind of attack here. Zest did spot that there's no 5th cache yet for Solar, so might suspect that there's some aggression coming. So it might be the case here that both players are kind of like so afraid of the other's attack that they don't really want to build any more workers. We see Zest kind of the first to break that worker silence, as we see 3 workers being produced right now, but even that's just kind of trickling in, not at very high speed. Solar, on the other hand, is just building roaches. He's like, you know what, you did some attacks, you tried to do some damage, that was fun, but now it's my turn. And he starts walking across the map with a lot of roaches. I don't really like this though. It felt like the only way really for Zest to get back into this game is by holding some kind of attack, and right now Solar is handing him the opportunity. That of course doesn't mean that Zest is 100% gonna hold, but Zest is preparing very well. He has a big wall here, which never is that great. Usually it just gets taken up by biles and roaches, but this area here is going to be close to impossible to break for Solar. There's a lot of force fields, 8 sentries. I mean, this is a big surround though. These ramps will help Zest. Good force fields coming out of Zest so far. Do get killed by the biles immediately. Solar tries pushing in, but I should realize you can't really push into a 6 batteries. I mean, these are 4 immortals, plus 1 is about to finish. You also start pumping out even more damage on these immortals. Solar's trying to push in, but with a prism and 6 batteries, I honestly am predicting a very rough time for him here. A lot of roach, a lot of links are falling already. None of the biles are really connecting with these immortals either, so these immortals are just shelling away. All the batteries are empty. That's so many shields that have been regained. If you every battery has 100 energy, and every single point of energy restores 3 shields. So if you had 6 batteries and they're all empty, that means you had 1800 in shield. Now if we translate that to stalkers, that's more than 10 stalkers that basically should have died in pure tanking power. That's a lot. So these batteries really helping Zest, and I feel like if Solar would have just attacked this area from the start, he might have been able to straight up kill him, but because he kept attacking into those batteries, now he still has a supply lead. He's even in workers, but he's down in upgrades. His unit composition is getting worse the more immortals hit the field. 5th immortal is, like I thought, stuck behind an adept. There is no 6th immortal on the way, couple more gates on the way. For Zest, there's not a lot of force fields here, and there's no battery, so this might be hard, but the prism together with these immortals might be able to keep them alive for a little bit too long, as Solar is pushing forward into this immortal count. 1 immortal very close to falling, good biles raining down, but none of them really hitting, as Zest micro so far has been fantastic. That has been different at times, but here he's playing a phenomenal game. +1 armor's on the way as well. A couple more biles once again. Connect with nothing. The one piece of criticism I have on those biles is that a lot of them seem to land in the same spot. Using rapid fire to cast those biles does have its disadvantages if you just put them in the same spot. And now Zest is so confident, he's like, alright, I might still be down in supply, but let me just tank a couple of biles with these stalkers head first. And he will just be able to push Solar back for now, who is like, oh crap, I didn't actually manage to kill him. Throws down a fort base, throws down an evo chamber and a baneling nest, but he should have done that 4 minutes ago when he still was in a very commanding lead. Right now it feels like a little bit of a desperation play as Zest is moving forward. More stalkers are being warped. And I mean, this is a scary push coming here out of Zest. Not necessarily a massive fan of it, because you're still on the other side of the map. You don't have your batteries close by. Now you do have a very big army as Zest, but reinforcements will have to come out of the prison, which means it can't really be used to micro as much anymore, and we see the first immortals finally starting to fall. It isn't enough, however, as Zest just has too much. Solar calls GG and picks up this game as well. Now if you did enjoy this game, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a comment down below and like this video. I did manage to get this replay by subscribing to the Patreon of the Ollie Mollik, so if you want those replays yourself, you can do that as well. I think it's $5 a month. You can watch all these replays yourself without having my voice over it, and that's something we all want. So thank you very much for watching, and see you all tomorrow for a new video. Bye bye.